Alright everybody, welcome on back to another super duper exciting episode of Classic Arcade Repairs. I am Sean, and here we have another, yet another Star Wars board set. Mostly complete. If we get in here, it does have the EEPROMs. Darn. And it has an aftermarket AVG. And all of the RAM are there. The only thing that is missing, it's missing 3 of these bipolar 82S137s. It's missing 3 of the 4. This thing will absolutely not do anything without those, because those are critical in the, that's the instruction proms for the math, the dividing and multiplication circuitry and all that kind of. Yeah, it's the instruction proms. So yeah, we're going to have to replace those before we do anything, and we will replace those, and then we will we'll hook this thing up and see what it does right off the bat, if anything. So let's get to it. Okay, so I have verified all of the ROMs on the system and all of the RAM on the system. I verified everything. So everything's good. All the ROMs are good, all the RAMs are good. I burnt the 3 missing instruction proms. This guy, that guy, and that guy. So we are now complete and ready to test. So I'll get my harness out, we'll plug in, and we'll see what this thing does. We'll hook it up to the little scope and see if we get anything up there. Okay, we're all hooked up. Parts side. And we're hooked there. You can see the probe leads hooked to the X and Y out. So let's go ahead and switch this thing on. Nothing. No boot. And our 3 lights are still on. There's just no booting at all. So, yeah. Okay. Well, I don't see anything catastrophically going wrong, so that's good. I'll set this thing on the tripod here and do a little voltage measurement. See what we got as far as voltage. First off, we'll check this out. Find a ground right here. That is 5.09, which is good. 10.6 for 12 volts, which is whatever. And one of these has, what is that? Yeah. 0.57 volts. I don't know what tab that is. That is, that's minus 5 volts, and there was no negative 5 volts. That's not good. Huh. No negative 5. No negative 5 volts. What in the world is that all about? Oh, that cap is cut. Man, someone knew that there was an issue here. This cap is cut. I'm going to remove this speech chip. I really need to look at the negative 5 volt circuit, but I'm just kind of following it around here. Pokies don't use negative voltage, I don't think, do they? The op amps can. You know, I don't know. Nope, no negative 5. We got our 5 volts. We don't even have 10 volts. Why do I have no? I wonder if something, I bet you something killed my power supply. I bet you there's a short on this and it killed my power supply. That would be my guess. Yep. So I'm going to have to check out my AR. It might have blown a fuse or might have blown my input diodes on my AR. I think there's a 12 or 5 volt short on here somewhere and it took my power supply out, perhaps. And yeah, so I'll have to rebuild that and then check out the schematic and look at where is those voltages coming in. I thought I saw plus 12, but I might have been reading, I might have been not seeing the decimal right. Because it said 10.6 the first time. I think it was 0.10, you know, whatever, is what I think was going on. So I can get down here really quick and I can test some fuses on the power supply. Way down there. And get down here, go to continuity mode. Make sure it's off. It is off. I'm going to unplug it for safety's sake. And go through and check my fuses on my AR brick. That's good. The fuses are all good. I can't hardly see. These diodes don't look dead. No, my diodes don't look dead. I can test them really quick. Oh, come on now. Oh, this is not fun. I can just try to see if these babies are shorted real quick. No. 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 Okay, my power supply seems to be okay, which is nice. So, I am going to unhook this. Unhook that all. This thing does get this gets 12 volts as well. I don't know if -5 comes into this board, to be honest. I don't think -5 comes in here. I know 12 does. And I believe this gets 22 volts and -22, but I don't think it gets -5. And then it goes down to -15 up there. So, yeah. I think -5, the only place that it is at, is it comes in here. Here, -5, yeah. It comes in here, and then it goes to this board. So I think that if I do this, and let's plug in this, let's unplug and remove this. And I'm not even going to plug in the video board right now. Where are we pointed? Let's point out, let's move. Yeah, let's do that. I've basically only got the CPU board plugged in. I unplugged power to the soundboard. I've got my AR plugged in, so I'm going to go ahead and turn that on. And I want to measure voltage up here. Ground +5. +5 is good. -5. No -5. No -5 and no 12. -5 is light blue, which is right here, light blue. I'm going to just unplug this board set altogether and turn this thing on and see if I indeed, power supply is on, and I'm going to see if I've got -5 here. I'm not getting any freaking voltage out of my power supply now. There's 5 volts. Okay. It's 5. Yellow is 10.3, which I don't have. I don't have anything coming out of my power supply. But my fuses are all good. Oh shoot, it's unplugged. It's unplugged. Goodness gracious. The somehow it got unplugged for the where the AC goes in to make the -5 and the 12 volts. So, yeah. Okay. It's ridiculous. So let's plug everything back in. And let's hook up our speech chip. That thing needs to be cleaned. Let's do no speech right now. That speech chip really, really needs to be cleaned. Okay, and let's plug this guy in here. Okay, and then plug this one in here, right? Stand that guy back up. How's that? This is X and Y and ground. Okay, parts, we're plugged in. We should have power now. So let's go ahead and try it. I'm still not getting anything. We're still getting no boot. But let's see if we got power now at least. There's our 5. We have 12. We have -5. We have our voltages. But we have no boot, no game, no nothing. So, okay. And that's okay. We'll figure it out. I'm just glad that we got our power problems solved. I don't know how that got unplugged like that. -5, -504, and 11.67, 5.08. Our voltage is great. CPU issues. We have no video whatsoever. Okay. I'm going to clean up the speech chip. It's all tarnished. It needs to be, the legs need to be taken care of. So I'm going to do that. And then we'll set the board set out. We'll take the boards apart, set them out so that we can actually start poking around on them. Yeah. And this is not a matching board set. Different serial number. That's okay. But we'll figure it out. We will figure this guy out. Okay, cool. I will return with the boards laid out on the table. All right, well, I have this thing plugged in, except for the soundboard, and it is working, but it's flaky, and the soundboard kills it. If the soundboard is plugged in, it kills it. It won't run. So I'll show you what it does. I'll turn it off. And when I first turn it on, it normally will sit there and go and not run right. So we'll show you. And of course it's not going to do it now. It's probably because I just see. Yeah, it just went flaky and then it came back. I don't know. It's not solid, that's for sure. And the soundboard don't work. It kills it. Kills the system. So, number one, since we have flakiness going on, the board works, which tells me that logically there's probably nothing wrong with it. It's just typical crap. We got these sockets need to be replaced. And then there's something bad on here, and it could be a pokey or something. Something's corrupting the data back through here, so it's probably pokies. Probably a dead pokey on it, killing the whole system. So I think what I'll do is I'll remove all 4 pokies and plug this thing in and see what happens. See if it'll run. Oh, I'm going to do that. Alright, as you can see, I have the soundboard hooked up and it is working. I was just removing stuff, and when I finally removed the CPU, it worked. So I think we have a bad CPU. 6809. So, yeah, see, it went bye-bye. And then came back. See that? Little lines in there looking goofy. We're going to do a bunch of maintenance to this board set. I'm going to replace all of the sockets and replace all the op amps and the regulators up here. I'm going to replace all the sockets on this board. And then I'm not replacing the sockets on this board because they never really seem to be that big of a problem. And I cleaned this chip already. And we'll go ahead and replace this CPU, and that'll probably do it, I would imagine. Well, I'm going to put it back together and put a new CPU in it and see what happens. Okay. And I have put a new CPU in it. The old one is right there. Put all the other chips back in the board. I need to replace this cap. But, yeah. One player start. Is that up or?
Red 5 standing by.
boom, 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 boom. All right. So, so it's just time for maintenance. We're going to clean the edges up. I'll clean the edges really good. I'm going to replace all the sockets. I'm going to clean this little board up. You see, it's pretty nasty in there, and I'll clean the contacts really good. I've already looked at it. The contacts are all good. There's no damage. So this thing just needs to be cleaned up. So we'll do that. We'll clean that guy up. Replace all of these sockets. Do all of the analog output maintenance work with the power supply and the amps. Replace sockets and clean edges and make sure all the connections are good and everything. That's kind of the main thing with these, is just connections. So we'll go through and we'll do that really good. This board set could probably use a good wash. Pretty dirty, a lot of dust settled in on it. Yeah, dirt. So I could use washing it. I'll remove the sockets and I'll wash it really good, and it'll be beautiful and new. So alright, I'll get to it. Okay, all of the maintenance work has been completed. We have new sockets on this board. These RAM sockets, that socket, this socket. All of the op amps have been replaced. All 5 amps and socketed. The 2 regulators, the voltage regulators, are new. This board, we've got new EEPROM sockets. Socket. These sockets are new. New chips. And then over here I replaced this capacitor that was broken, cut. And there was a broke capacitor right here that I replaced. And the CPU, of course, was replaced. So yeah. Rolling. So I'll come back after a nice burn-in test, a nice run test. We'll do a little play-in and then wrap it up. So I just came in from, this thing's been running for a few hours, and I came out to that. So we have developed a problem here. I want to see if something has just given up. I want to see if a part has just given up the ghost, and if it has, then it'll still be bad. And of course now it's not doing it. And that's unfortunate. Interesting. Well, I'm going to let it run a while again and see if that happens again, and I don't know. We'll see. Okay, so the game is on. It's in game mode, and we have no sound at all now. So that makes it easier. There's no sound. And I've got that insulated. That's good. I can hear the amp. I can hear the speaker back there. It's not the amplification of the speaker. I'm going to try a new one of these. Yeah, I've gone through. I replaced all of the pokies just to try to eliminate that, and I was thinking maybe one of them was killing the whole works. And that didn't change anything.
Good 5 standing by.
As you can see, it is working now. It's this socket. So that CPU was probably good that was in it. So it's over in my junk box over there. So I bet you that CPU is fine. Let me fish it out of there.
R220,
6502. There it is. 6809. Bad parts. So I'm going to swap back in the pokies and the original CPU. And I bet it works. And I'm just going to have to go through and I looked at the pins on this in the socket. And they are terrible. So I'm going to have to do maintenance work on this board. No getting around it. That socket is really, really bad. It's totally corroded out. So I just want to go ahead and put it back together, make sure that these parts are good, which I'm sure they are, and maintenance on this board, and that'll do it. I have all of the original parts in it, and I just tried starting this thing up, and I forgot. This will not work, as you can see. See, the lights just stay on. Remember, this will not run with this. This CPU is bad. So let's turn that off. That thing's got to go. This CPU is bad. It's going back in the junk pile. And the new one is right here. Put it in the garbage socket. And it's running. Yeah, so just got to go through and replace sockets on this board. They're all nasty, so unfortunately we're going to have to replace all of them. Not this one, that one's been changed. But this one, these, all of those, getting replaced. Otherwise, this thing will just never be solid like this. It never will. You'll have goofiness all the time. So that's next. Yeah, and we'll try to get a close-up look at these. You can see this side. Just how bad this socket is. Oops. The other ones are not as bad. But they still suck. Yeah. These ones can probably be just reconditioned. These ones are not as bad. I don't see any bent end pins. And they're not really corroded. They're a little dirty. I'll have to wash the board. But I think these ones will be okay. I'll just clean them up and recondition them. Shaky, shaky. Yeah. Yeah, I'll clean these ones up. The only one that I'm going to replace these ones will clean up okay. That one's dirty. Very dirty. Now this is that CPU socket. And you can see how these pins are actually pushed in. See that? And dirty and nasty. See, these pins are actually pushed inward. The other ones aren't. These ones are not pushed in like that. That one's dirty, but it'll clean up. I'll clean those, but I got to replace. That one has to be replaced because the pins are pushed in. The other ones look like they'll be okay. I'll clean them up. I'm gonna wash this board really good though and condition all of these other sockets and replace that one. Trying something a little new today. I got this flux here, this paste flux. I kind of pasted underneath both sides of the socket over here. And see if that helps desoldering these things, because desoldering these suck. I actually had to make a trace repair on that board from one of the EEPROMs that I removed. Yeah, these sockets really suck to desolder. So we'll see. We'll see how it's just an experiment. I'm gonna see how it works. All right, and that did work pretty nicely. Removing that with that pasty flux stuff, it worked pretty nice. I liked how it worked. I would only use it, I think, in stubborn cases. I don't think you really need to do it. I don't think you need to use it on like boards that are nice with different types of socket. These sockets just don't like to desolder. So I don't get it. I don't know. Atari boards, maybe. Maybe it's Atari boards. Who knows? Anyway, I've got these all nice and cleaned up. They're clean. They're conditioned with electronics lubricant. Nice and clean. This socket is replaced. These ones, of course, are nice and clean. Reconditioned. So this board should be good to go. And I've cleaned and conditioned this. How nice and shiny those contacts are. So we're going to put this thing all together with that, all how it's going to be in the cabinet, and give it a test. All right, and here it is, all together. And on. So let's go ahead and play some Star Wars. At least get to the, I always just play until I blow up the Death Star. And that's a successful play test. This thing has already done a 3-hour run test. Now the soundboard did go flaky in that test, but it was because of that socket. So everything else was good. I just replaced the socket. So we will go ahead and play us some Star Wars. All right. We're going to play some Star Wars.
Force will be with you. Always.
Red 5 standing by. Red 5, I'm going in.
Use the force. Luke, trust me.
Yahoo! Fire kick! Red 5, I'm going in.
Remember, the force will be with you. Always.
All right, success. A successful test. So, looking back on this guy, what did we do? All right. Well, I cleaned this board all completely up, reconditioned all of these sockets, replaced that socket, replaced this busted cap, that broken cap. That one was just cut. Replaced that one. I cleaned the legs up on this guy. I cleaned and polished the contacts on this interconnect. I replaced all of the sockets from here down on the CPU board. All of the RAM sockets, the ROM socket, CPU socket, that was all replaced. I had to burn these 3 ROMs, the 110, 112, and 113. I had to program those. They were missing. And on this board on the back, if I can get to it, let me set this down for a second. Try to maneuver this way. Okay. Now this board, I replaced these 6 sockets. I replaced the socket under this. I replaced that socket. I socketed and replaced all 5 of the TL082 op amps. I replaced the 2 voltage regulators in the analog output supply. I think that's it. I think that's it. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's it. So I'll let this one run a little while longer, and it's already done its run test though, so it's already good to go. I don't like how it's leaning like that, so I'm gonna stop the camera and set it down. Okay. Yeah, that's much better. And my furnace was on, so I had this thing cranked all the way, just about. Turn it down a bit. Star Wars. Awesome. Okay, it's going to do it, guys. As always, thank you for watching. And we will see you on the next Classic Arcade Repair. Happy New Year, by the way. It is January 1st, 2022. Wow. All right. Peace out.